I am excited to introduce our first guest, Ms. Smita Paul. She is an educationist and managing director and founder of BTG Bridge the Gap, which is an education consultancy and training services. So Smita has more than 20 years of experience in inclusive education. It happened that I met Smita, one of a woman entrepreneur, where I met with her, I bumped in, and then we became good friends. And the more I know about Smita, I was inspired myself. Being a mother of two children, I was very inspired by the contribution Smita has provided to the society. So today we are going to talk about confidence of children, the role of parents and education in today's world.
Who was overloaded with people from education field, because my mom was a teacher, my grandparent was a inspectress of education in Bombay, so too much of students and teaching and all that, so I never wanted to be a teacher. I never did a B.Ed or anything. I pursued my BCom and I started my career with corporate. I was into MNC and doing well in my corporate. Then one fine day I decided to quit corporate. So I moved from Mumbai to Chennai. I took a career break. Then I realized, what am I doing with my life? Doing nothing. And I'm not a person who can just sit idle doing your regular chores. So that is like, that got me into the teaching field. I was like, instead of, and I didn't want to step into the career of corporate again. So I went into the school where I started teaching to children from Montessori and 6th and 7th grade. That is when I came across a lot of children who were struggling in academics. Not like they did not have intellectual capacity, but still they were struggling. They were struggling to write or understand instructions without even knowing anything about special needs. Out of my interest and passion, I started working there. And before that, also as a child, as a young girl, I used to always have passion for people who are disabled, who are struggling. And my mom's colleagues, their children were like, they had some intellectual disability. So we used to always be with them, to feel them, to give them good company so that they don't feel left out. So we used to always accompany them. So that was always there in me. So when I was exposed to such children, it got me to think about them and start working with them. So without even any knowledge, I started working with them. I started seeing difference. The parents came and told me, thanked me, saying that, we even couldn't support a child, but you have made a great difference. And within a year, the child was able to do academic performance similar, equivalent to the other peers. So that was a great achievement for me in life, because before moving into the education field, when I was working in corporate, I was at the managerial level, I was earning good and everything. But the kind of achievement that I had that day when a child transformed from being called as a dumb or doesn't know anything to someone who was like outstanding in the class,
Wow.
that was the greatest achievement. So that was a turning point in life for me.
So that inspired you.
Yes.
So what take as a kind of example, like what was the difference did you make in a child? How was the child before and how was the child after you trained him?
Over there in my first class, I mean first career in the education field, where I was a Montessori teacher, I was a teacher of LKG. So I had, every teacher used to have 30 students. But without me having any theoretical background of education, but I was the best teacher over there.
Oh,
So in spite of having 30 children in my class, I had other children who were in different classes also. They would come and sit in my class. I had a great control on them. The way I used to teach rhymes and story and everything. So the most naughtiest child also would come and sit in my class and learn. Some child who's sitting in the corner and crying. There was a child who used to come and sit every day and cry from the starting of the day till till the end. Okay, in between, only while eating, he will stop, he will eat, and then again he will start. It was like a no tears, nothing, like that's all.
okay.
So he will not focus visually. But I'll be teaching, but auditory inputs went in him. So then whenever I used to ask questions, children who are attentive, they were not able to answer, but that fellow will come and answer.
Okay.
So I was like surprised, like, oh, his name was Girinath. I still remember. I was like, Girinath, you're so good. You can. Then I changed him, Then he changed from being a crib baby, from crying to being there with other friends, helping them. So like that, there were many other children with whom I brought that change. And there was one specific child who was not writing at all. And I didn't know that the child would, maybe if I would have assessed now after the knowledge, maybe he would fall under the category of learning disability. But that, at that time, I didn't know, because he couldn't hold the pencil properly, he couldn't write, he couldn't form letters properly. So I would sit with him one on one, make him write, teach, and finally at the end of the year, he was the topper of my class.
Wow.
And parents were like, surprised, and they appreciated me so much. They were so thankful to me that, this change I could bring in that child.
Wow.
So that was just the beginning. And after that, it went on and on. Years and years, I have worked with n number of children, and so I'm thankful that God has chosen me for this. I'm really happy with this.
Wow, this is really a great inspiring story, Smita.